Are you ready, kids?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Subject High, the only podcast on the internet with the guests who do. I am your host for this episode and all episodes, Hoogaloof24, a bear. And for this episode, I'd like you to give it up and make some noise for the guy who makes some noise, Chemical Crux, also known as Fen, as we ask him a series of questions that drill down to the dark heart of man. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Better than average, so it's pretty good.
Excellent.
Have a nice early morning podcast here.
It's a great way to start the morning, and it's actually the first morning episode I think I've ever recorded. Which is maybe...
I think a lot of people are kind of not early risers, you know.
I can't blame them. But let's begin with some of the stuff that you are best known for, which is your audio work.
Yes.
How did you get your start in the sound game? I'm very curious.
Oh yeah, so that goes back a while. So I think the root cause of this was technical theater, of all things.
Okay.
Back in high school, I never really participated in theater much, but I was interested in the technical side, stage building and, lights and sound. And I had done some work doing recordings for one of our musicals, and that was done in Audition. I think it was Audition 2. It was some ancient version of the software. It's this sound mixing audio workstation. So I had gotten some experience with that, doing the recordings and editing them, cutting the background noise out. So that gave me some of that experience that I needed. But I think the actual thing that kicked it off, so if you go way back on Furfandy, way into the past, there's a couple people who kind of started doing that audio stuff. Like, what year was that back in? See if they can find a number here. It's like, oh wow, it's a while back. It was at least 8 years ago. Yeah, The Nugget was making some of that stuff back in 2012. And so I found some of that. I was actually on a trip. I can't remember what it was for exactly. It was shortly before entering college. I think it was something to do with, getting ready for that. And I wound up listening to some of that and thought, this is really impressive stuff. I should do that. Got back from the trip, and then I stayed up until 3 a.m, smashing together a bunch of sound effects. And the end result is something that I consider now to be kind of low quality, but it was indeed Vor audio. And I threw that up on Furfandy, and it blew up, and so I kept doing that. And so that's kind of where I wound up today. Several years later, probably a little better at it, and I guess, it's gotten a lot more popular too. It's been cool to see other people give that a shot. I think back in the early days, it was really kind of a niche thing almost no one was doing. So I think that's part of what made it so interesting. It was kind of this new ground to kind of go explore and make stuff in. So yeah.
I definitely agree with you there, especially in the new ground aspect. You were something of a trailblazer along with those very early people.
Yeah, I think Ranger did one. The Jesk's done a ton of that.
Mm-hmm.
A few people who kind of got me interested in that.
I think it has paid off very, very well, considering sort of the success that you've had with making things sound good.
Yeah, and it's been kind of fun to say, we could apply this to games and animation and all this other good stuff.
You definitely can, and you've surprised me by slapping very, very good sounds on a couple animations that I had done, and took me completely by surprise.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I just kind of run up to people and say, "Here, I did sounds for you,"
It caught me completely off guard in a really, really exciting and fun way. So congratulations, you totally made my day.
Yeah, I'm glad. Well, yeah, I've a number of different people, just kind of, because it's something that you can do, pretty quickly, and it's kind of cool to say, okay, I wonder what this sounds like, and An hour later, it's like, oh, that's what it sounds like. Okay.
Well, if the things that you put on display are any example, you can do a lot in an hour that I couldn't do in like a day.
Yeah, a lot of it comes down to having good, a good library of sounds. It's a lot different from like drawing something. This is a lot. It's kind of remixing rather than creating from scratch. So it's all about having knowing what there is, and then what are the good ways to actually put it all together into something that sounds nice. And I guess it sounds really easy to me because I kind of just go, here's sounds, here's your sounds, and then I literally just throw stuff on the canvas and then kind of rearrange until it sounds good, But I'm sure there's some kind of intuition going on there.
Whatever it is that you've got going on, I think you have completely nailed that aspect of it in a very cool and fun way.
Oh, thank you.
So we've nailed down sort of with two in one fell stroke. We've killed two birds, and I'm very sorry for those birds. But those birds being how you got your start and your sort of early fandom influences. And usually I ask a question about what your sort of influences in media are, but I wouldn't necessarily say that a question applies to you unless you can think of one to answer.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I think I just kind of got introduced to furry strictly through people who were furry, not really through external media. It wasn't like I watched a cartoon when I was 6 and it forever changed me. I mostly just liked watching Yosemite Sam blow himself up. I guess I was watching Looney Tunes, but that wasn't a real influence, I don't think. I guess it kind of just occurred. It's like, oh, this stuff's kind of cool. I like this. And then as I moved from high school to college, I just kind of went, boom, okay, fair now.
And what a transition it was.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's very cool and exciting. So instead of that question, I'll instead direct my attention to sort of your work in the past and your work in the present of the pieces that you've made, the cool Vorny soundscapes as well as other audio stuff that you've done. Which would you say is your favorite?
That's okay. So let's see here. I can just go sort by views and find that Inside is my favorite part. I guess my favorites is going to be a kind of split between the more active and inactive stuff. I haven't done a lot of that really active, complicated audio recently. Where there's a whole scene playing out. I'm kind of proud of one scene I did. What was this one called? Oh, it was called Rat Trap, and it was a commission for someone of a whole actual scene about a giant monster attacking a bunch of people, and that was it was very kind of complicated. There's a lot of stuff moving around. I really enjoyed kind of placing everything for that. I was trying to make it so you'd actually imagine exactly where everything is in the scene. But from more just this is Vorny, Mm-hmm. I think some of the loops I've done recently, especially there was one I did with Touch of Snow.
Yes.
And that was trying out doing voices in the audio. I almost never like voices in audio. It always just hits me like a truck. It just sounds so sharp and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. But I found that worked out really nicely. We're actually planning to do some more work together at some point.
Excellent.
Obviously we're all a little bit busy. I know. But it's fun stuff. So yeah, I guess those are some examples of stuff I really like. Just beyond that, I think any the kind of loops I've been doing, I found quite nice. I've been trying to learn new ways to arrange all this stuff to make it, because there's a lot more you can do beyond just putting every sound effect into a sequence and then playing all of them. I've heard that before. I think the sources of that gets into the weird notes category, so I'll come back to that later. But there's a lot more you can do beyond just smashing the sounds together. Trying to actually make it cohesive, you know, like saying, oh, you're leaning against the wall here, or you're getting pushed around here, and doing that in a way that isn't just you telling the audience it's happening, you know. You can actually hear it. That's tricky.
I can imagine so. I was surprised sounds like not a bad thing, but doesn't necessarily capture my emotion. But it's 7 a.m. right now for me, and I just woke up, so words are going to be difficult. So
Central time.
This is the first stupid episode of this podcast, as if I haven't been stupid in any of the other ones. But some of the sounds that you chose for some of your work, like I would not have done that myself, but I think they fit really well, which I think speaks to your ear for this or my lack of an ear for this.
Yeah, you know, some of the sounds can be very weird, and kind of people get surprised by, like it's mostly just vegetables being smashed together. One of my I did a bunch of recordings like it was actually about a year ago, I think. I'd have to go check the files, but it's me stirring a big bowl of stroganoff pasta. And I just took that and I chopped it up in little pieces, and then I made a copy that was slowed down, and there you go, slime,
Wow.
Similarly, there's a giant pile of sounds that is shampoo and conditioner getting mushed together. Those are really slick and slimy. I think one of the most, there's some sounds, though, that I can just instantly recognize them, immediately. And they're still, they're often really good sounds. So there's a reason that, the sounds are, getting reused so much. But it is a little funny. There's a really, good set of slimy sounds that's somebody stirring up pumpkin guts. And it's literally called, Pumpkin Guts 1 through 9, And I just listen to some audio. It's like, oh, yeah, Pumpkin Guts 6, Pumpkin Guts 4.
That is fascinating.
And it just sticks out, And there's also, there's some sounds that have been bouncing around Eka's portal for 10 years now. Some glorps and other noises, and those again just oh yeah, I know that one. That's glorp 2. Oh,
classic glorp 2.
Yeah, glorp 2 is a really dark, is kind of a deep, and it's a double hit, It's good. But yeah, I still use this, and I do try to mix them up. There's a lot you can do by kind of changing the attack and decay of the sound, making it come in smoothly or leave quickly, cutting it off halfway. That kind of mixes up the old stuff.
Oh yeah, certainly. That is,
and I find that really important too for making it not too loud. My main complaint I have with other people's audio, other than it isn't mine. So what's the point? What are you doing here? Is that when sounds are just, they hit you in the face, and you gotta smooth it out a little. It's supposed to be squishy.
Yeah.
It's gotta be smooth. So yeah, that's my rambling about sound effects. And one interesting thing that I still haven't really explored. So all of this is called Foley.
Yes.
Foley. That's it's the art of making fake sounds, basically. In a movie, when you hear sound, the sound of people walking, that wasn't on the camera. That was somebody in a studio slapping some shoes on the tile. And I never really learned the theory behind that. I want to do a lot more recording, and I kind of want to. It's something I need to do because it seems learning the real proper theory of how to record that stuff and get really good sounds is just something that'll make everything a little nicer. So yeah, surprised I haven't done that yet.
I wouldn't even know where to begin for learning the official sort of sound theory.
And there's not really anything official. It's just a bunch of people smashing spaghetti up and getting seeing what happens. It's very it's improvisational, I guess.
It's like jazz in that regard.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Horny jazz.
Horny jazz. I know what I'm putting in my profile.
Yeah, horny jazz artist.
Yep.
I think it's entirely fascinating that you have that reaction of man, I know this sound for other audio that people do in the same sort of vein as yours, because I have the same feeling when it comes to roller coasters, which is a bizarre one, but I used to work at a theme park. Mm-hmm. And so whenever I see I can't go to them anymore because whenever I do, I just look over and I say, oh, here's this guy. he's working the tilt-a-whirl. He's not even paying attention. Someone's gonna fall off and die.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend too who worked at theme parks, and they had very strong opinions about roller coasters. That's all I really remember. There was, please vote in this best roller coaster competition. You'd better vote for me. Ew. But yes, theme parks, too much outdoors for me. I'll catch on fire and burn up.
Yeah, I do not attend them much anymore, especially now. I live in the I live in a very hot area, and the only theme park that is down here is apparently no good.
I'm from Houston, so you know how I feel about that.
Yeah, you might have it. You might have it just as bad, if not worse, in that regard. Then.
But I'm in New York, so it's a lot more. It swings a lot more up here. I was taking the trash out yesterday, and it's like, oh god, it's 85 degrees. It's summer now.
Just awful.
Yeah. Despite coming from Houston, I am not a big fan of the hot weather. So,
it's such an. I don't know how we got on talking about the weather. That's the most possible.
I guess is that how boring we are?
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those like adult things where
it's just like you default back to the weather. You have nothing. It's like let's go to the. Yes.
Yeah. Let me try and right the ship. I'm also feeling that way about just like the weather in general because I live in Louisiana and it keeps raining. So I woke up and even the inside of my house is so fucking humid.
Okay, yeah. You get fog on the inside of, you get fog on the outside of the window. It's just like, oh great. Lovely.
I hate it, but I live here. So you mentioned having some interesting note interactions.
Yes.
I'm curious if you would be willing to share some of those with us.
Yes. The subject high content of subject high.
Which is surprisingly absent. Not a lot of people have stories about that, which is fine.
Oh yeah. So I've really been spared the worst. I don't often get people running up to me and saying, "Do you RP?" and then just immediately launching into a awful roleplay. I guess it's probably because maybe it's because I don't have tons of uwu sexy Vorot of my persona. It's a lot of a mixed bag. So it's just kind of oh, okay, I guess a few people will show up, but it's not like some people have it where they're just getting murdered constantly by people just demanding roleplay. But I have had some interesting interactions. So there's the one I showed you before we started, and this one went up in FA notes. So I had this guy who was very persistent about one very specific thing. Do a cat POV vor audio. Do a seal POV vor audio.
Oh my god.
Do a sea lion POV vor audio. It was every time it was from a different alt account. So it wasn't even it was just, and these alt accounts were of course in themselves a whole ball of joy. It's do a cat POV for audio, and I already made one. Well, do a giraffe for audio, and it was every few weeks for a few months. And then even in the comments, it was just I told someone, oh, I'm glad, thanks for the compliment, glad you like it. And then in the reply, do a seal POV for audio. It's just I can't escape and this was a 6th alt account.
Jeez.
So, and I guess this is more of the weird request category than the weird roleplay request category, which is, distinct ideas here. But yeah, so. And the real kind of meat of the story, though, is just the content of these alt accounts. Every single one had stolen audio on it, but it was really, well, not necessarily some of it was stolen. You download the file, and it was just 3 different file names smashed together by Fur Affinity because it kept getting re-uploaded. But other times it was just a single, like, I talked earlier about putting a bunch of sounds in a sequence and just playing it. Some of it was that. So it was just like 10 swallow sound effects in a row. That was the entire thing.
God damn.
And it's like, I know that amateurs should be allowed to grow and flourish, but I don't think this is the right track here. I don't think we're going the right. This ship isn't going in the right direction. Turn it around. Go back home. And this. So it was just really weird. It's like every time it would be a new and mysterious mixture of stolen art and stolen audio. The thumbnails were also just yoinked, of course. I can't remember any specific what they were, because I'm pretty sure the accounts have been nuked by this point. I don't know, maybe not, but I'd have to go dig through a lot of notes to go find that.
I wouldn't want you to dig through all those.
Yeah. All the glorious content.
Oh.
But yes, so that's the majority of the weird notes. It's just people just demanding things,
That is.
Which hasn't actually happened much recently. It's like, okay, that's nice.
I'm glad people are starting to get a hold of themselves, but that should go without saying that it is impolite to demand things of artists who usually do stuff for free.
Yes, or just say. At least they said please.
Yeah.
Sometimes they said please.
Sometimes
they usually didn't say please. It was usually just do a audio. That was it.
Maybe the please was implied.
Yeah.
Which is just as good.
Yeah.
Maybe even better.
Well, friends here.
Yeah. No, but I'm glad that has not been a harassment trend that has continued to sort of stalk you through the ages. I
no longer go, oh God, I have a note. I'm asking, I have a note.
That is genuinely fascinating. Yes. I sometimes wonder if accounts like FA Notes have any impact on the candor of some of these individuals.
Oh yeah, because it's like, oh, what if they post on FA Notes?
It clearly doesn't stop some people.
I have, but on the other hand, I have not received anything as glorious as immediately change your character's gender. So at least we haven't gone that far. We've gotten close. We've kind of gotten close though.
Ooh.
I had someone who just rolled up and said, "Stop posting females. Just do, or I will block you."
Oh, we've flipped it turnways. We're on the opposite end now.
And he also did not want AV. None of that. Do not post that. And that's why I immediately posted it. I believe they blocked me, then unblocked me, and rewatched me because they needed that hot audio. They couldn't survive without it.
Yeah, and they also couldn't be fucked to just go to your page to see if you've uploaded. They have to know.
Yeah, they gotta watch. Oh yes, I think that was the closest I've gotten to that great spiel.
I have tossed around the idea of doing a retrospective episode, like a short one, about that series of note exchanges with Joy, it's Joy, who was the unfortunate recipient.
Yeah.
And if the absolute maniac who submitted 800 paragraphs about how smart and intelligent they are, and how if you have a male character, you're a gay communist.
Oh, here it is. I was scrolling back, and they still have the bootleg audio.
Oh, no.
Oh man, these comments. I don't just read comments, but there's some spicy comments on this. But yes, still around. Oh yeah, I'm just looking at this audio. Yep, it's just like fractal bootlegs, my favorite kind.
Oh God. The way you've described it makes this sound like it's some sort of AI that is slowly and very kind of sexually finding its sentience on the internet.
Yes, it's trying its best. But it is funny on the topic of bootleg audio. It's kind of like different people have distinctive enough styles, even though it's like if they're all drawing from the same source material, it's still different. So JIT, it's cool. Like I at one point just kind of like listened to something like, wait, that's just one of Jit's pieces, you know. And so it's kind of weird. It's kind of just like, you know, recognize that. I do think there are very distinctive styles. Like, you know, like I listened to something by Monster Chow, who was fantastic, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, that's Monster Chow. And it's like, oh, that's you. That's you. You know, I recognize you. And so that kind of makes it. You'd think it would be kind of easy to steal audio because like you have to like listen to it, you know. But it's kind of it's instinctive enough. You can kind of pick it up.
Unless you just mash a bunch of sounds together and produce like.
Oh yeah.
A schizophrenic series of 80 gulps, one after the other.
Yeah. And then just finish it off with something like a 1 kilobit per second burp.
Yeah. the world's most bit crunched belch.
Yeah, that's usually, and you usually find that in very poorly made RPG Maker war games. You know, that's kind of the nadir of audio.
I love
bad
those
RPG Maker games.
I have a soft place in my heart for those.
Yeah,
because there are some good ones that I have played a little bit of and enjoyed.
Really effective. Like even like kind of like poorly put together games can still be pretty impressive, just because like, there's something about the interaction that makes them, you know, good inherently.
Yeah, it's a fun medium.
Yeah.
You have done some work with games as well, have you not?
Yes. I started doing that a couple of years ago, you know, getting into more software development stuff for Vorny purposes, of course.
But of course. The Vorny is good.
Let's see here. Yes. But yeah, I started working on, it was about 3 years ago when I was entering grad school, actually. I started working on, you know, like a procedural macro game, and that was, you know, did that for a while. Kind of branched out into making, you know, an RPG and a text adventure and all that kind of stuff. You know, I have a bachelor's degree in computer science, so I've done computers a lot, you know. So I figured, like, okay, I'm good with computer. Let me make Vorny with computer. And there you go. I made Vorny with computer.
What if the computers were horny?
They probably are. Ew.
If not before, they definitely are now.
Yes.
God. I'm thinking of AI-generated pornography, and I'm having a mental breakdown.
It's being tempted. It kind of works. You know, you see those things like, what is it? Style. You know, I can't remember the exact name. There's you know, that one of those things you put some text and it comes up with the rest of the writing. I've forgotten the name.
Auto-generated.
Oh yeah, it was like just Talk to Transformer was the website that would actually. Would do that for you.
Wow.
That's right. Yeah, it was the GPT-2 model. There's the name.
I actually have a story about this. Now
really?
I am remembering. God, this is a bizarre tangent, but a very, very funny one, and it might reveal a little bit much about me. But I had, when I was in, it must have been like high school, but you remember those like weird Skype add-on bots that you could add?
I don't know if I ever used those. I could believe it though. Would that be like you'd stick them in, like they'd make noises for you? Or?
It was something like that. I didn't actually use the thing much, but I had a friend who was like, "Oh, this is so funny. I've got a Skype add-on pack thing that does AI that'll talk to you. Haha, mine speaks German. It's so silly." And I said, "Oh, that sounds fun. I'll add that, and that'll be good for a little laugh during a call." Turns out the AI that your thing got saddled with changed from like installation to installation. I don't know why, but mine was like an early on late 2000s furry sex roleplay. Sex roleplay bot that liked Vor.
It just reads your innermost desires.
That's what it felt like. It was the first instance where I thought, like, hold on, is the entire world a Truman Show goof on me?
Audience laughs. Amazing.
My friend and I made the two robots, the one that spoke German and the one that was Vorny, talk to one another. Until the sort of auto-generated text sort of devolved and the two robots went insane.
Yeah, they kind of just fall down to a thing. What one says makes the other say something nonsensical, and then it just pings back and forth forever.
Yeah, it very quickly went from like sprechen Sie Deutsch to like haha I'm gonna eat you, and then within 15 minutes it was just thousands and thousands of characters that just were like number code and weird.
They just started blasting nuclear launch codes.
Yeah. And I'm glad we shut it down, because I was worried if we let it go on for too long, the world's most horniest and Germanist AI would have been born.
I don't know.
We had to pull the plug on that.
Yeah, I'm just imagining just sexy German for God. There's a sentence.
Ugh.
Das Vor.
I think that might be a good title.
Yeah, Das Vor. There you go. I can speak German. I have some German heritage. I can do this.
I took a couple years of German, but I had very interesting experiences, and I didn't have very good teachers for most of the time.
I did sign language, which I can't really show you over this medium, so
no.
you know.
That's incredibly impressive, though.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. You know, it's a whole language and culture, and I haven't gotten to use it in like 7 years, so you know. Gotten a little rusty.
This could potentially be not as funny as I think it is, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think it's ironic that the audio person took the only non-audio language?
Yeah, there's a little bit of an contradiction, isn't it?
I think it's very funny.
I'll just do some of this, you know. I guess I said, okay, so that's if I didn't have sound. What if I did have sound? Four. There we go. Boy.
I think that's super fascinating and very neat. All right. Let me look at my questions again.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also getting messages from people at my job, which I am supposed to be starting relatively soon, but I can be a little bit late. I work from home after all.
Ah, yes.
They can deal with that.
And I'm a grad student, so, you know, let's work.
I do not miss the student life at all.
Graduate school is very different from being an undergraduate. It's a lot less structured, you know. It's different and weird.
I guess that.
Eventually, if everything goes right, I'll be Dr. Crux. So there you go.
Oh, that name sounds great.
Yeah, that's the entire purpose. Just so I can say that.
I wish you the best of luck in that pursuit. That's got to be tough.
Got a few more years to go. Yep. So what you got up next?
We've done sort of the bad interactions that you've had. As with the underbelly of the furry fandom.
Yes,
before I ask the question in official context, if you ever do decide to make a giraffe audiovore, could you incorporate a slide whistle?
Woo! Just all the way down.
Yeah, I would love that personally.
That's going on the April Fool's pile, I think.
Oh please, I think that would make it incredible.
I have some really garbage ideas lined up for that. You know, Smash Mouth or just end it all. You know.
Oh no, that's the worst sentence I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious though, and really genuinely catch everyone off guard.
Just bad ideas, you know. I had some fun a few years ago with you know, adding loot boxes to all of my games for April Fools. That was good.
That is good. I like that.
You had to unlock every single action in my Macro Rampage Simulator separately.
Oh.
You can't step yet. You don't have that unlocked.
You haven't unlocked this big steppy.
You cannot have the steppy. Maybe if you buy a loot box, you'd get it, you know. Mm-hmm. You can't buy the regular, you gotta buy the premium loot box. Yeah. You know, that's the good stuff.
$5 for one. No steppy, but you did get Grow Bigger twice.
Yeah. You got it again. Oh well.
That is incredibly funny though. But So
back to that question.
We've detailed the sort of bad interactions, or at least a handful of them. What about your time in the fandom and these associations has been good, would you say? Are there any particular stories that come out as being positive ones that I was going to say would write home about, but don't write home about any of this?
I guess like the first thing that jumps to mind is some of the people I met right after I started doing the whole furry thing. Specifically, Sophia or Zakuratech on Twitter. We've been friends since like ages, basically. And same for Deerpuff, he's an artist, and he drew my original reference sheet way back in like the winter of 2013, I want to say.
Damn.
I'm glad I met them early on because they're pretty nice, and they kind of just got me introduced in this whole shindig. I guess like beyond that, there's just a lot of people. It's like I found this group of people, and I'm happy to be in this group of people, and they're good people. That's good. Yeah, that very eloquent, I know. But really, it's kind of just a general, like, I'm glad I'm around all these people in these different communities. And, it's just like, yeah, glad I found them. And I don't know where on earth I would be right now if I hadn't really done the whole, fairy thing. In high school, I went through my DeviantArt period. Where I made a bunch of really edgy characters and then made a bunch of social mistakes, which is, I think, mandatory when you're going through your teenage years.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But I had no idea where I'd be right now without that. Like, it's probably affected things like college and grad school. Like, a lot of things just been influenced by it, So I guess it's kind of just overall quite positive. And it's hard to pin down something in particular that's really, great because it's all been pretty good. But yes, shout outs to those friends I met way back when. It's like, hey, they're good people.
I think that is very, very sweet. But other than that, I think I'm running out of questions. at least like the canned
hand-picked ones. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything that you have not gotten a chance to talk about that you would like to get to talk about?
I guess I could blabber about games some more.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah, more recently, especially. So I've had these different text adventure games I've worked on over the couple of years. A more recent project of mine, Macrovision, has been really interesting. It's a size viewer. Like you just have you ever seen VMS on like the Big Fur's website? I don't know if you're into macro much. I don't know how much experience you got here.
I have very limited experience, so I do. So
it's very big, very small, big. There you go. You've been introduced. But like way back in the ancient days of furry, like this is from like the old guard almost. There was something called the Visual Macro System. I think it was called. It's this ancient like Flash program that lets you drag stuff around and see how characters look. And as you know, Flash is going to get old yellowed this year.
Oh, what a shame.
It was like, oh, yeah, it is kind of a shame. Like, Flash, I hate Flash. Like, from a programming perspective, Flash is disgusting and it needs to die immediately. It makes me scream. But from an artistic perspective, like, Flash was, like, amazing. It gave us so much, content. Like, every, Newgrounds, there's so much stuff on there. And I don't know what's going to replace it really. Like, what is the next big outlet for people that want to make little games? I don't know what's going to be. There's going to be a void there for sure. But yeah, so I just wound up making. Like, I'm going to replace this thing, and hundreds of hours of work later, I've met a massive number of people. It's like, I want to put my character in this. I want to put my character in this, and it's been really neat to seeing all the different varieties of people. Like, Macro has a very wide variety of people, some of whom I even talk to, and it's really neat how just being able to just meet so many people through just saying like, hey, I want to put my character in this. Okay, how about we chat? Well, what's going on? And I guess it's just been kind of nice to have that opportunity, and it's been nice to see so many people. It's like, hey, I like this thing. All these things seem to have gotten like pretty good, like followings, and so it's just really cool to see that. I'm at this point, I'm just saying it's nice that nice people are there, and they are nice.
I don't know. I think that nice people are nice.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty uncontroversial opinion.
Yeah, only the hottest takes on this podcast.
Yeah.
I think nice people are nice, and I think mean people are stinky.
Yes. Now, that's when I cross my arm, my rantsona takes a deep breath.
And defends child labor laws.
Yes, in defense of child labor.
Ugh.
Back in the Victorian era, things were better. You can't see me crossing my arms here, but you can. I could do my best.
I could feel it through your computer.
Yeah, it's just.
You had the raw crossed energy of somebody who was about to drop a conversational bomb.
Yes.
Incredibly powerful.
Everyone, watch out! Here it comes. I think that steers into the topic of the dramas. So we're now going to have this podcast turn into drama talk, right? Give me some rumors. I want to speculate.
I actually have had the added benefit of not having a whole lot of very dramatic people on.
Yes.
Or rather, the dramatic people that I did have on have they didn't want those parts of their episodes aired, or their episodes aired entirely. So I would feel bad personally dragging their beef into it. But I will say, furries need to calm the fuck down a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the main thing is furries need to realize that we're just a bunch of people who like animals. That's like the defining trait of furry. Like feels like I can't believe a furry would do that. We're people who pretend to be animals on the internet. Come on,
yeah.
Don't take it so seriously.
I don't know. There's like an element of personal opinion that I feel. I think people put too much stock in fandoms as a whole, and so like that customized like designer persona like fursuit thing that was going on like 2 years ago at this point. I saw people getting really, really mad, being like, how dare someone try to commercialize the furry fandom? And I looked down at all the commissions that I've done, being like, that's me, I'm commercializing it. Except I give you what I want, or what you want, rather than someone else giving you what they want.
Was it hilarious and out of touch? Yes. But, was it the end of all reality? Probably not.
Oh, no, I absolutely had an absolute chortle every time it got brought up. And I still think it's funny that somebody tried to bring these weird, sort of gaunt fursuits into the scene.
Just strange.
Who, and for so much money, goddamn. I do think people made the right choice in sort of rejecting that style of thing, but it's less like because I'm worried about the evil capitalists sinking their claws into furrydom, and more just that, like, this is an outlet for...
What am I looking at?
Yeah, this is an outlet for your personal creativity more than anything. If you want a fursuit, you should just find someone who will make what you want, and if you don't know what you want, then at every convention they sell partially made fursuits. Just find one there that you like. And it won't cost you $10,000. It'll come close, but...
Yeah, I've always considered, like, I want to get a fursuit sometime, but it's always been like, well, I gotta redesign my persona first. That's been on the back burner for a year. And now I gotta like, actually go to cons. I'm a grad student, so, like, whoops.
Yeah.
I go to conventions. They're called conferences.
Whole different kind of con.
And it's a lot fewer people in costumes, a lot more people giving very boring presentations,
What a shame. You should... I would love to see, like, a professional business conference, but everyone's in a fursuit.
Yeah, it's going to be a, academic conference, but everyone's a furry, there we go.
I would love to see that. That seems hilarious.
I got a few dozen friends who are in science. I'll go see what's up.
All right. But I think as far as questions go, that's about all I had, and we're bumping up against not the time limit. There isn't a time limit.
Yeah, the reasonable, like, people will start getting bored and switching back to Fortnite or whatever it is. Yeah. Whatever these youths listen to today.
Yeah. It's more that my My long-suffering editor, Huckleberry Blue, I don't want to make him edit another hour and 30-minute long podcast.
Yes.
That is... I like those episodes that go long because there's usually a lot to talk about, but they do get kind of rambly in parts, and I have crashed his computer with file sizes before, and I am so very
I can get rambly in 2 minutes. Watch me.
But I think you've done a great job of sort of staying on task, and you've had a whole lot of interesting stuff to say. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
I'm sorry it took so long, because I remember you were one of the first people who showed interest in it.
Yeah. I figured you had a number of people you want to talk to, and I'm just way more distracted than I have any. I have no right to complain about anyone else saying, "Oh, I'll get back to that later." I mean, have you seen even my Fairfinity profile? It's like I haven't worked on one of these games in like 6 months. Oh my god, I got to go put more porn into that.
Press the porn button to produce more porn.
Yes, and I told someone I'd do some programming for their game, and oh my god, it's really I have on Fairfinity. I put my title as like Polymaker because I do a whole bunch of stuff. I do like audio and writing and programming and stuff. But that's because I'm so I am just focused and kind of all over the place. So it's kind of a boon and a curse. I've done a lot of cool stuff, but I've also done a lot of stuff without really narrowing down on it. And I decided the solution to that was to try to learn Unreal 4 so I could make 3D Vor games. So
add another thing that you could do.
Yeah, just more stuff. Why not? But it's good fun, That's kind of the hope. Ideally, it should be fun, interesting and fulfilling.
Yeah, if you don't like what you're doing.
A bunch of people think it's good porn, that's a nice addition,
Yeah. And it definitely is. You have touched the hearts of many people, and then those people touched their ding-dongs.
Yeah, a whole bunch. I still have people who come up and say, "Hey, I listened to your audio while I slept."
Oh.
A lot of people do that.
There's something bizarrely intimate about that.
Yeah, it's very nice.
That is nice.
Only problem is wearing headphones is a pain in the ass, so you have to. It's difficult.
Yeah.
I said a naughty word. We're gonna get demonetized.
That's okay. I don't have any fucking monetization. At least not yet. God.
Not yet.
No, I'm
once you gotta get some poppy for drama on here, then you'll get the view count.
Oh my god, of course.
You need a fist fight in the stream.
Yeah, audio fist fight. Could you provide the Foley sounds?
Yeah, those good funks,
Yeah. Because all I have is cartoon bonk 2.wave.
Bonk. Yeah.
I would love to slip that into like a realistic fight sound.
Oh yeah, just that good old bonk sound. And I've done some audio for things that aren't for porn. It's the exact same idea, just there's less squishiness going on. So it's kind of, and it's interesting because then you're not just making porn, you're making art,
Yeah.
Well, everything's art, but
Yeah.
But it is kind of nice to do something that isn't just porn. But it's also nice to do things that are porn. So.
Yeah. It's definitely a nice change of pace. If people only want to be horny, that's totally fine. But I like drawing non-horny things too.
Yes.
That is the end goal of my art. Is through drawing the Vor stuff. I intend to become a good enough artist to do something that's more meaningful.
I'm pretty sure Polly's ass is very meaningful, so I don't know what you're talking about.
The development of that has been very meaningful, and it's taught me a lot about work ethic. Barely a day goes by where I don't draw at least something.
Mm-hmm.
I've
tried to do a similar thing, because I am so unfocused that, I kind of trying to get these habits going was like, okay, I'll work on each of these things a little bit so that I'm always kind of making some progress on them,
Yeah.
That's really nice. It's like, I did 10 hours of work on this. Wow, okay. It's actually looking good now.
That's the way to do it, is just... It's very difficult. Lord knows it's not easy to be like this, but to always be on the grind.
I want to go do something else now.
Yeah.
There's a great blog post series talking about the instant gratification monkey and how it ruins your life, and that monkey has strong control of me oftentimes.
Yeah. As I imagine it does in many people. That monkey is powerful.
Yeah. And some days that the monkey makes you spend 10 hours working on porn, but then it's just like, okay, I'm done now. No more of that. You've got to eat lunch, you know.
It can be difficult to balance those interests and keeping them like always active.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, like, what if I actually haven't made tons of audio. Like, I made a lot, but like, I was thinking, like, well, what if I made more of it, instead of just dicking around all the time, Sure, there'd be more. I'd have more watches. That makes me more important, as a human being.
Yeah. Fake internet points do contribute to your real-world value. That is a fact.
Everyone knows that.
Do not devalue my fake internet points. I've worked hard for them.
I'm sure that being watched by 11424133331 that's the only reason I have value.
Oh. What would I do without throw a wah 3348845?
Yeah. Let's be honest.
Yeah. No. I do think there is something to metrics on the internet, but you shouldn't let your follower count or your view numbers control your life.
Yes, maybe they should inform, like, people like this more than usual.
Yeah.
Should do this.
Use it. You should use them as like a what's the word?
As a guide. A rule of thumb, and that kind of thing.
Inspirational.
Ah, yes.
But it also depends on the what's the word, the platform that you're on, because I could get 10 times the followers I have earned through my art if I were to just say things that were politically mainstream. I would have every Karen on earth come and follow me.
Well, we could go into Echo's portal and make some really questionable art.
Oh yeah, that's all
spicy.
Yeah, all I want for Christmas is to be a pedophile.
Yeah, just download that RPG Maker game and just back to audio. Like when you rev up a game, it starts blasting really high pitched gasps at you. It's like, I'm just gonna scoot away from you. Goodbye.
Oh.
And then you decompile the game, and it's even worse.
Oh no.
I have a lot of experience with computers and in computer security, so I have experience just taking things apart and breaking them. So I of course, if I have a Vor game, I'm going to try to hack it, so I can get to the Vor scenes faster. This takes me 3 hours to save 2 minutes. It's like, whatever. I'm stubborn. I'm going to do it. But then you go into the game files and you find it's okay. That really is what's going on here? Exciting names. Yeah. I slag off on Echoes a lot, but it's still decent. It's an okay place to post board game stuff. Tons of good stuff on there. It's a lot of RPG Maker games.
Oh my god, there really are.
And some of them are really good. Like there's ones that there's one in particular it makes entire internal scenes out of maps, and it's really impressively put together.
Oh.
But then others just that's the game.
Oh no!
Except imagine that, but bit crash to hell. Yeah, of course.
I would love that. But I post on Echo's portal, but not actively. I just have whoever the creator of Posty Burp is, you are a lifesaver.
Oh yeah, I should look into that. I have. If you look at my profile, I am Chemical Crux on every single goddamn website under the sun. But I don't use most of them because it's whatever, I don't want to post there. I should probably use Posty Burp just to mirror my content at least, It is. I tried to get a Gallagher and Echoes, but they don't have audio, so...
No. What's even the point?
Yeah, what am I going to do?
I mean, to be fair, they barely have a website. Sorry.
It's definitely it's a relic of the past, It's really old. When is that thing? When did they put up? It was it's got to be at least 15 years. There's probably been some work, but
I shouldn't shit on the website. It's very functional.
Yeah, it's definitely old, but it's okay. This is a BB form from whenever.
Yeah,
reminds me of the old days. Back on the Steam forums.
It takes you back to the old country.
Remember back when the Steam forums existed?
I do.
Petron remembers.
God.
I had a lot of rep.
I still sometimes flash back to the old GameFAQs days.
Oh, yeah. You still go on those forums occasionally when trying to find something. It's like, oh, man. Whew. Take me back. Yeah. Country roads, I'm going home.
Oh.
It takes you back to the really, I had 3 phases of development. There was the RuneScape era, where I was the most embarrassing thing on the internet. The DeviantArt era, where I was the second most embarrassing thing on the internet. And then the Furry era, where I am, again, the most embarrassing thing on the internet. But in a sarcastic way this time, God. My DeviantArt years, they were necessary, but, I think everyone needs to go through a phase of really edgy characters and, things you think are cool but are not cool, like Shadow the Hedgehog.
How dare you?
Actually, he's cool, goddammit. But, I think it's, completely necessary.
Yeah.
Kind of just, I think we all at one point had our Warriors OC, where we had our, I had an edgy fan character of somebody's original character, so that's where I was working at here.
Oh, no.
And I wrote some really bad writing. And now I write some really horny writing, so,
You have to learn to walk before you can run with your dick in your hand.
I think that's completely true. No, I'm not going to go back and look at that stuff ever again, mind you.
No. Never look back. Purely a linear march through time.
Yes.
Like sands through the hourglass, there goes the content right into the garbage bin.
Just notes into the inbox. Oh, boy, here we go again.
But thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Is there anything or anyone you'd like to give another sort of little shout out to before we wrap?
Other than Simple Flips, who always deserve shout outs.
It's true.
I think just, I'm gonna say, Zakuratek and Diapuff, you're cool. Keep being shitposters, but also good. I think everyone needs to be a good balance of shitpost and horny. It's the yin and the yang. Or the yang and the yang, but fun, but ironic, I don't know how it is. But yeah, I guess just all those... I'm just going to say all the cool people out there. There we go.
You've now covered all your bases.
That was non-specific.
If you would like to find our friend Fen anywhere, you said it yourself, Chemical Crux on all platforms.
You see me, I am Chemical Crux on Furry, DeviantArt, Twitter, not Facebook.
Why not
Transfer,
Facebook?
which is a website apparently exclusively for Transformation Note. I'm on there.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm on a whole bunch of places. But yeah, Chemical Crux. I used to be Fenrir Fangs. Actually, that'll be one last little thing. I picked Fenrir Fangs because I was like, I need to put this porn on the internet. This great variety, and then it's like, well, what's my name going to be? I just picked, okay, Fenrir Fangs. A lot of people picked the same name.
Oh, no.
So I very quickly discovered that, Tumblr, I couldn't get an account on there, Skype, I was Fenrir Teeth. And so I quickly moved off of that. But there's a lot of people that say, oh, you're that guy, oh. Because I made a lot of stuff on there. But yeah. One last little thing. So yeah, Chemical Crux. And you can find your host at Giant Renamon. That's your profile, right?
I would love to get giantrenamon.com to just sort of link to my FA page.
Let's see if you can buy it.
Oh, please. I'm
pretty sure you might be able to get it. Let's see here. giantrenamon.com. Yeah, it's only $4 to start. Holy cow.
God damn.
There you go.
All right, something to consider before this episode goes
buying
up.
Domains.
And someone tries to swoop on.
Oh, someone's going to go buy it from you. Oh, man.
So I got to do that before I upload this, but
yes.
You can find me. I am Hookaloof at giantrenamon.com/business. That is my business email. It has a / in it, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, you gotta send horny posts only.
Yeah.
Hookaloof loves those.
It's true. Get as horny as you want.
Unexpected horny.
Yeah. But I've had a similar problem to you where for some reason a lot of people picked the username Hookaloof.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
surprised.
I am so very sorry for those people who were misfortunate enough to.
Probably my motivation was like, I don't want whoever this Fenrir Fangs guy on Skype is start getting blasted by people thirsty for Vor. You know.
Yeah. But by the time I had already claimed my first Hookaloof name, it had become top of the leaderboard. So to the dude who has like 3 Twitch followers, that guy's not me, but
sucks to suck. Yeah.
Sorry, bud, but you've been ganked, I guess.
Nay-nayed.
Yeah. For more nay-nays, you can follow me. I'm at HookieLoof on Twitter, and I have a Patreon that helps to support the show and helps me to pay my editor, which is just patreon.com/HookieLoof.
What's your OnlyFans?
What's my what?
OnlyFans.
My OnlyFans is BigBear6969, and I post cool photos of waterfalls that you can pay $99 a week for.
Sweet.
And my editor is at Huckleberry Blue, and he does a very, very good job. So go give him a smile.
Yes. I will go give him this giant wave it is recorded. So
yeah,
have fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Subject High, the only podcast on the internet with the guests who do. And I hope you have a great morning.